Hello, I'm Marie Ramsey and welcome to Transformation to 5D. I'd like to explain to you about hypnotherapy, what hypnotherapy is and what we do and what we achieve through hypnotherapy. So basically it is hypnosis, which takes you into the subconscious, into a trance state where we can bypass the rational brain, that part of the brain that is very protective and blocks a lot. So when you do therapy with a counselor or a psychologist and you're talking, you censor or filter what you say, and there are protective parts that will stop you talking about certain things or understanding certain things because they're afraid that it might make you feel sad or unhappy or whatever, or maybe too painful. But in the subconscious, you bypass that, and it's not that you go into the suffering, it's that we can experience our memories without feeling the pain and suffering of the experience. We can see it as an observer. We can not have to re-experience it, but to be able to observe it, to understand it, to have things come forward that will give us clarity and will help us. So you may have a loved one come forward and express their love for you, and you thought they didn't love you and you weren't lovable. So it's very interesting what comes up in the subconscious. It is not something that would normally come up in the rational conscious mind. And so it can be very healing, which is why it's called hypnotherapy, because it's doing therapy under hypnosis. There are other things that we can do in there. One of them is past life regression. And the purpose of past life regression is to give you clarity about what may be outstanding in life lessons. So you may go back to past lives and understand experiences that you've had in past life that relate to this life. So it could be a connection with a person. So giving you some examples of ones that have come up is someone was betrayed by their husband in a past life, and so in this life he's been given the job of protecting and looking after you, so after that person. So they reconnected again so he could make up to her for what he did in a past life. It can be finishing off experiences. So could be that you had a past life with a person, and in that life you had a beautiful loving relationship, but in this life you've had a marriage breakdown or a relationship breakdown. You feel alone, you feel depressed, you feel that no one will ever love you, and so you may go back to that past life to understand that love is there. Love is always there, just waiting for you to connect. Reminding you what love feels like, good love, healthy love, rather than the toxic relationship that the person had in this life. So there are many different reasons to go back to past lives. It could be go back to resources that you had in past lives where you were strong and confident and brave, and you bring them forward into this life to help you overcome the problems that you're having in this life. It could just be out of curiosity to see the different roles that you've had in past lives. So most people have had a large number of past lives, particularly older souls have had, over 100 past lives. And so you can go back to different ones. Some of them you may have been male, you may have been female, you may have been married, you may have been single. One male that I regressed back into past lives, he'd only ever had male lives, and it was funny that all of those lives, he had been an adventurous young male and he died in his 20s. And so he didn't have a lot of life experience. So in this life, he'd lived longer and he'd married, and but he hadn't been able to hold on to relationships because he had a very male perspective to things and he couldn't understand the female psyche at all because he'd never experienced it. Whereas others, you can regress someone back and they've been the opposite gender quite a lot. And so they have a much stronger understanding of that psyche in this life because they've experienced it in past lives. So our past life experiences are kind of cumulative in that they give us extra knowledge and understanding of things in this life. And sometimes we need a reminder of who we have been in other lives so that we can remember that and bring that forward in this life. One past life of my own that I regressed to was in this life. I had always been offered management level jobs, higher executive level, and I didn't want them. I was uncomfortable being a high level manager. I was happy being a middle level manager or working for other people, but I wasn't comfortable being responsible for everyone. And so I'd always self-sabotaged. And when I regressed back, I was a high priestess in a temple, and I had all these acolytes that I was responsible for. And something had happened in the community. There was a group of monks or priests of some kind that they were jealous of the temple and they wanted to take over the community and be the temple of the community, the leaders of the community. And so they'd started these poison crops and blamed it on us. And the people had been incited into rioting against us and all of us were killed. And I had felt terrible guilt over the responsibility for my priestesses that had been killed in that terrible event. And that had stopped me from ever wanting to be in a senior management position again. So once I understood that, I was able to let go of that guilt and let go of that feeling and realize where it came from. So that's one of the reasons we do past life regression, is because it gives us an understanding and it lets us let go of things that don't belong in this life, or we finished the lesson and we can close off that. I took someone back into a past life regression. First thing they went to was their death scene of where they were drowning, and they wanted to go and see their family before they died. And so we, in that, because it's in the subconscious, you're in the imagination, was able to take them to his wife and child, and he was able to say goodbye to them, and that way he could close off that life, having been able to say goodbye to them in that life before he died. So it's a healing process as well that allows people to finish off business that they weren't able to finish off in that life. Not always will someone go back into a death scene, but quite often they do. When we regress someone into a past life, often they'll go into a childhood scene where it's a simple life. Most lives are simple lives. They occasionally will go into something where they perhaps were burned at the stake or hanged or something like that, and that created a phobia in this life. And so when they understand that in a past life, they can release the phobia that they have in this life. But usually a past life regression will start with a childhood, moving through, you move through the life into the next significant moment. So you'll see how their life evolved as a young adult, then when they have family, and then you move through to the death scene where they can look at their life, review their life, and we ask the questions, what did you learn from that life, and what was the purpose of that life? What was your life lesson? What was your purpose? And they're the two important things about lives. What was the purpose of that life? What was the lesson that you were learning in that life? And often it will be something simple like purpose of that life was to learn patience. And what was your life lesson? It was to learn that people can love me if I open up and are patient with them. Things like that. It's never about physical things. It's never about accumulating wealth. It's never about success or competition or any of those things. They are human creations that have no significance in the soul world. The life lessons are always about love. They're always about love and fear. What blocks us from love? How we love each other, how we love ourselves, how people felt with the way we treated them. It's always about a life lesson of learning how we treated other people and the impact that had on them. So quite often we'll take someone through the full life experience, or we may go through 3 lives, jump through 3 lives, and see contrasting experiences. The subconscious will take us there. I did have one person once went to 2 parallel lives. They were living 2 parallel lives at the same time, and their lives were fairly identical but in 2 different cultures. One was in an Asian culture, the other was in a European culture. And she was a young woman, and she had issues with her mother, and she was going through that experience at the same time in 2 parallel cultures. So she split into 2 lives. And it was interesting to see the contrast between the 2. It was a more difficult past life. I mean, it's not common that someone will split into multiple lives at the same time. But yeah, it was fascinating to see that she was having 2 lives at the same time. Not all past lives are on this planet. Sometimes someone will go to one client went to a place of meditation and his guru, and he just sat there with his guru getting enlightenment and wisdom and learning through his guru. And it was no place that he could say. It was just there, sitting with his guru in space, gaining wisdom. So there are different experiences that people can have, and when you are a hypnotherapist, you have to have an open mind because you're never sure what will come up. Some of it can be metaphors. I have had people have dragons. Dragons are a metaphor. They're usually a protector of some kind. Could be the higher self. I did have one lady, she went to a place, a lake, and there were all these women standing around the lake, and there was a dragon. And when we asked who the dragon was, she said, the dragon is my higher self, and the women are my guides. And so you can get metaphors like that help you understand the purpose in your life and what your life lesson is in this life. So it's interesting. The other reason that we go into hypnosis is closure. Sometimes you just need to say goodbye to a loved one, and you can ask that loved one to come forward, and you can talk to them, they can talk to you, and you can just have that final conversation that you needed to have for closure, and to know that how they loved you and express your love for them. Other things we do in hypnotherapy is inner child work, where we'll regress the person back to their childhood. It can be a trauma, it could be an experience that they misunderstood. And so what they will do is as what their memory is remembering it as the child. When we're regressing them back as an adult, we bring the adult part of them in to see what the child went through and help the child understand and put it in perspective. So it may be a baby that was left in the pram outside and felt abandoned. And then when we ask what was going on, the mother's inside, and we talk to the mother, and the mother says, I put the baby outside because I was spring cleaning and I didn't want the baby to be exposed to the dust and dirt, and it was safer for them outside, and it's a beautiful day out there and they're safe. So I put the baby outside so I could do all the cleaning inside and get all that finished before I brought the baby back in. So it helps the child understand and resolve things, because that experience of abandonment can leave an ongoing trauma that is triggered by future experiences that reinforces a sense of abandonment when there is no abandonment. It's just a misinterpretation of an experience. Past life regression is fascinating, and it helps us understand who we are, that we are not just this human being here now, but we have been many human beings, many experiences, and we are accumulation of all of that wisdom and knowledge that we have gained. And it also helps us understand that this life I might be female, but other lives I've been male. One life I went back to, I was a male, a wise man who lived in a cave, and all I did was mix up herbs and go out and preach to the community. That was my life, very simple life. So you have many different experiences in your past lives, and you can experience those through hypnosis. They can be therapy, but they can be just an experience. So you can go under hypnosis just to go back into past lives for the fun of going back into past lives. Your subconscious will often show you what you need to see at this point in your life. Quite often you will find that you are interested in that kind of experience because there is something you need to resolve. And when you do go into the subconscious, I don't guide it. The subconscious takes me where we need to go, and then I just facilitate the process of whatever healing needs to happen in that space. And I never know where we're going to go. I never know what's going to happen. But I have all the tools that I need to make sure that the person is safe through that journey, and that they will not be re-traumatized. Other hypnosis that we can do is the medical integrative hypnosis, which is going into and reprogramming the body. So you can, one of the processes we can do is like go into the control center of the brain and reprogram the brain, so we can turn down the volume of the pain. We can look at healing parts of the body that may not be working well, and so we're reprogramming the brain. So it's very good for any psychosomatic illnesses or anything like that, because they are all in the belief system of the brain. And so what we're doing is going in and reprogramming that belief system within the brain. And another one that I do is the quantum healing hypnosis technique of Dolores Cannon. And that one is 4 to 6 hours usually. We start with getting background story, and then go into past life regressions, usually 3 past lives, and then talk to the higher self, ask the higher self to come in, can answer questions, And it's quite fascinating when you're talking to the higher self, how they answer the questions. Remembering in the soul world there is no emotion. So when I've had higher self say things like, well, they wanted a holiday, they needed a break from work, they were getting too stressed out, they wouldn't take a break, so we forced them to take a break by breaking their leg. To a entity that has no emotion, that seems logical and practical. To a human, we go, oh my God, that's terrible. But they do what they need to do to look after you and protect you, because the consequence of not having a break would have been worse than having a broken leg. So they only intervene if it's needed, if you ask for it. But the higher self can also give you wisdom and understanding. They can explain things in your life. They can explain parts of your story to you that you're struggling with. We can also bring in the white lights for healing. And the white lights are, I think of them as the first aid team in the soul world. And they can come in and change the energy within the physical and the mental, the emotional, within those levels. So they are energy healers at a very, very advanced level. And they can come in and do energy healing by changing, reprogramming at a cellular level. So there have been healings such as cancer has been gone, cartilage regrown, things like that have happened through the white lights. They can be incredibly powerful in their healing, and they may continue their healing for weeks and months after the session has finished. So they don't walk away, they don't leave you as soon as the session's finished. In the session, what we do is we ask them to help, and they start the process, and then they will continue it afterwards. One of the things I've been working with another quantum healing hypnosis practitioner is that we have been given by Source scripts that we can use for reprogramming at a cellular level, and that is for healing many of the common illnesses, genetic disease, diabetes, things like that. And they've given us explanations, and so I'll do another video on that to give you an understanding of the causes of illness according to what we've been told from the soul world. So I hope that helps you understand hypnotherapy. A lot of people are scared of it. A lot of people, you say, oh, would you like to try hypnotherapy? And they're like, no, I'm not going anywhere near that. It is, with the right, with a qualified practitioner, it is completely safe. We always put protection around you when you go into the subconscious. We always hold space, are fully there, focused and concentrating on your energy, on your space. We can intervene at any time. If we think that you are starting to feel more than we would want you to feel, we do have commands we can use to allow you to experience something as an observer instead of feeling the emotion of going through it, to allow you, to protect you from anything that could happen in that space. We do have commands for that, and those commands are very effective. So you cannot be healed, cannot be harmed in that space if you are with a good qualified practitioner. Entities can't come in when we put that circle of protection. And the other thing is that when your hypnotherapist is very strongly connected with the soul world, you will have a much deeper experience, a much stronger experience of healing, because as a therapist, I can connect and bring in the white lights and bring in the guides, and they work with me and they work with your guide to, with your higher self, to bring about and facilitate that whole process. So as a channel, sometimes they will channel through me and I will feel them take over and do the scripts and do the healing through me and through my connection to you as the client. So it's an experience that is, I think it's an incredible healing experience. And from my perspective, to see people overcome cancer, overcome illnesses that they've lived with their whole life, overcome depression and anxiety, grief, just in a 1 hour experience or in a few hours experience. We never hypnotize for more than 2 hours usually. It's enough. But it is a very powerful experience. And so, yeah, I would recommend giving it a go. But make sure you find a reputable hypnotherapist. Most hypnotherapy can be done online. The quantum healing process is still supposed to be done face-to-face because you are going much deeper, and you don't want the online to drop out during that. If online does drop out during a hypnotherapy process, you will come out of the hypnosis automatically. You won't be stuck there. But the quantum healing does go deeper, and so to have that energy connection face-to-face is more desirable. But I know some people do the process online. I would do first session face-to-face. I would do later sessions online if I know the person. But it's most hypnosis I can do online. So that's hopefully given you some understanding of hypnotherapy, what we do in hypnotherapy, why we do it, and why it is so effective. And I think it is a therapy of the future. I think there is so much that has been suppressed. I know with clients that I've had, it's taken a long time to build trust, where they will break down barriers. And the only reason that we have made progress is through hypnotherapy, or resource therapy is my other process, which is similar to hypnotherapy. And both of those techniques are very good at going into the subconscious and bypassing the whatever was suppressing or protecting the person from being able to move forward and heal. Sometimes it's a belief system that's what they deserve, that they deserve to feel miserable, they deserve to be treated badly. It's an old belief system that may have attached to them when they're a child, and that belief system can be that they should feel shame, they should feel guilt, they should feel undeserving, they should feel not good enough, because that's what they deserve. And when you have that as a belief system so heavily embedded in someone, they're not going to change it through talking. You need to get down to the subconscious and show them a completely different story, and so that they can understand why that belief system is no longer there. And we can also work with the subconscious to order that belief system out, to send it away, to reprogram, because it's not helpful to the person, it's harming them. So the subconscious will work with us to remove anything that is harming the person as well. Yeah, it's a wonderful process. I really enjoy doing it. So I hope that helps you understand hypnotherapy a little bit better, and I will talk more about it in other videos. Take care. Marie Ramsey from Transformation to 5D. Thank you. Hello, I'm Marie Ramsey. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist, a resource therapist, and a counsellor. I specialise in trauma healing because trauma is the basis of anxiety, depression, and most mental and physical illnesses. It is what blocks us from becoming the healthy, happy person full of love, joy, and abundance. And so it is important to heal trauma in the transformation process. You can book sessions with me if you would like through my website transformationto5d.com. They're available online via Zoom and face-to-face in Brisbane, Australia. I'm also a quantum healing hypnosis practitioner in the Dolores Cannon style, and this is available face-to-face in Brisbane, Australia. It is a process of regressing into past lives, then talking to the higher self, and then bringing in the white lights for healing. It is an incredible experience, the quantum healing process. I am running courses on my Wisdom of Love Academy, and they are available self-paced or via Zoom in groups. In future, I'll be running workshops and retreats in different places around the world. And so if you would like to keep up to date with what is happening, subscribe to my newsletter so I can let you know the latest. I'm also willing to work with other people if they would like me to come and talk in their organisations or to run workshops and retreats with them in partnership. I hope that you are finding this podcast helpful, and if there is more topics that you would like me to cover or questions that you have, please put them in the comments or email them to me so that I can answer that in future podcasts. Together we are creating a healing community that is going to be able to transform into the new world of 5D, of love, joy, and abundance. I welcome you to this community, and I hope that you come on this journey with us of transformation so that you too can pass through the portal into the new world. Thank you. Take care.